Fun fact, my parents were extremely conservative and overprotective. Fun fact number 2, during the late 90s and early aughts, conservatives got offended by fucking everything.
This
Mr.
man,
Rogers.
this evil man.
I mean, I guess they've always been like that. It just affected me personally a lot more in the late 90s and early aughts. So there was a lot of content other kids got to watch that I just didn't.
But now I'm a frickin' adult and I can do whatever the heck I want. And there's nothing you can do about it, Mom.
I don't fully understand my parents' reasoning on what was and wasn't okay. Like, I had this Lego cowboy set and they took away all their guns because they didn't want me playing with guns. But water guns, toy guns you're actually supposed to fire at other people, were A-okay. Figure that one out. So, while I'm gonna try to analyze why I wasn't allowed to watch some of these, sometimes there just was no reason. Some Christian conservative somewhere got upset and my parents just took their word for it. And considering the breadth of things that offended conservatives...
You take it on Elmo and Sesame Street and Big Bird in your book.
Yeah, I kind of want to take him out back and cap him.
I think I got off lucky. That said, I ended up thinking of a lot of things to talk about, so a part 2 is definitely in order. I could absolutely make this a semi-recurring segment, so let me know what you think. Would you come back for more? Anyways, let's start with the first horrifying, childhood-destroying threat to Western civilization I couldn't watch.
Teletubbies. Teletubbies. Say hello.
Yeah, I wasn't allowed to watch Teletubbies, and I actually had to go poking around to find out why. I thought I had heard something about a creator or an actor being gay, but no, there were plenty of gay writers and actors and stuff I was totally allowed to watch, but not this one. No, it's much dumber than that. See, there was this televangelist named Jerry Falwell, and he said he had discovered Tinky Winky was gay. Cool headcanon, bro. Tell me more. His evidence for this. 1. He was purple, the gay pride color.
Since fucking when? If there's a gay pride color, it's pink, right? Like, when corporations pretend to care about us, we call it pink capitalism? When has purple ever been a gay pride color? Incidentally, purple was my mom's favorite color, so gotcha, Mom.
Number 2, he had a triangle on his head, the gay pride symbol, which, yes, has become a bit of a gay pride symbol, with a deeply complicated history we're not gonna get into right now. But, you know, it's a simple shape that's likely to appear in most children's shows. There's no coded message here, it's a damn triangle. And 3, he's effeminate. And, like, that's a shallow reason to assume someone is gay, but honestly, I don't know what he's talking about. All the characters on this show act like fucking babies. What do you mean he's effeminate? He's a fucking toddler. What do you expect him to carry a gun and talk about sports all the time? I'd like to point out, 2 of these 3 things are also true of Barney the Dinosaur, a character I was allowed to watch. And he has a friend named BJ. Now, for this video, I rented a library DVD with 3 episodes on it, all apparently about baby animals, but that ended up being more than I needed because I fucking cannot stand this show.
Oh, la la. Uh-oh, Dipsy. Oh, la la. Oh, hello, Dipsy. Oh, la la. Oh, la la.
Guys, I went into this with an open mind. I wanted to praise what the show did right, but my fucking god. So, the first thing that happens in this show after the theme song is Lala and Dipsy saying hi to each other over and over and over again. Finally, the narrator tells them what they want to do.
Lala and Dipsy decided to go for a walk together.
Oh!
So on their walk, they keep running into Tinky Winky and Po. And every time, all 4 of them have to say hello to the other 2. So we get to hear uh-oh character name 8 times.
Oh, Tinky Winky.
Uh-oh, la-la.
Uh-oh, Po. Oh, Dipsy.
Uh-oh, Po. Uh-oh, Dipsy.
Uh-oh, Tinky Winky. Uh-oh, Lala.
Every time it happens.
Oh, Tinky Winky.
Uh-oh, la-la.
Uh-oh, Po. Uh-oh, Dipsy.
Uh-oh, Po.
And it happens 3 or 4 times, so I hope you like hearing that over and over and over again. This is the hypnotic induction that turns you gay after watching this. Finally, the Teletubbies perform a bizarre ritual to summon a show on their tummies. It's a man reading a storybook, and I really like his voice.
They lived in a hole in the trunk of a tree with their old mother. The hole had twigs and leaves and old feathers in it.
Very Reading Rainbow vibe to this segment. Plus, I was happy to get away from the Teletubbies. For a while. Then after the man reads the story, some kids ask him to read the same story again. Couldn't even have one nice thing without them running it into the ground. The ending is the Teletubbies dancing, which granted is better than them talking, but Jesus Christ, there's 5 minutes of material tops in this 22-minute episode. Yeah, I didn't like it. So, I've got a new theory. I don't think Jerry Falwell actually thought any of these characters were gay. I think his kid just turned it on and he's like, oh my god, turn that shit off. But, you know, as a parent, you kind of need a good reason to turn off things your kids like. So he just went, that character is gay. God doesn't want us to watch this. And you can't argue with God. And listen, maybe my parents did ban it for homophobic reasons, but you know what? I'm not sure I'd let my kids watch this either. Although, to be fair to my parents, if I'd watched this as a kid, I would be attracted to men now. What did I expect from the country that decided Mr. Blobby was appropriate children's content? Let's move on to something with a little more substance. Yu-Gi-Oh! Was a show based on a card game based on a manga. Yet, figure that one out, the manga came out before the card game. And while I don't have the timeline in front of me, I have to assume they were trying to cash in on the Pokemon card game. It's odd to me that Pokemon is still discussed with fond nostalgia, while I really only hear about Yu-Gi-Oh! From a handful of dedicated fans. Because I distinctly remember Yu-Gi-Oh! Being way more popular. Maybe it was just my school where Yu-Gi-Oh! Was big, maybe the Pokemon card game was a bit before my time. Maybe it's because Pokemon had the video games while Yu-Gi-Oh! Really only had the card game, or because Pokemon has continued to put out new content while Yu-Gi-Oh! Sort of disappeared after a certain point. Or maybe it's because the Pokemon anime, and from what I've heard the card game, are just better than Yu-Gi-Oh! So Yu-Gi-Oh! Drew pretty heavily from ancient pagan mythologies, particularly Egyptian, and I think that's why this got on Christian's shit list. Then again, I also wasn't allowed to watch Pokemon, and I can't explain that one. In fact, part of the reason I picked Yu-Gi-Oh! Over Pokemon for this is because I have a much easier time explaining why I wasn't allowed to watch it. That, and my parents were definitely stricter about Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's one where I weirdly ended up parroting a lot of what my parents said. There was this kid in my 3rd grade class who really liked Yu-Gi-Oh! That I was just a huge dick to. Not just because he liked Yu-Gi-Oh!, he was pretty annoying, and let's be clear, he was absolutely a dick right back to me. We were both in trouble constantly for the shit we pulled. In my defense, we squashed the beef by middle school and were even kind of friends because of all the shit we'd gone through together.
Hello? Game shop? Ah, Yugi, perfect.
Really convenient timing on that one. I want to imagine he was just calling the shop, like, repeatedly waiting for Yugi to show up, and it's like, oh, finally, he picked up. First off, the way Yu-Gi-Oh! Transforms into his Super Saiyan mode is kinda... why? And he does so many weird anime things.
I don't think I can do this. The deck, it senses my doubt. Don't lose focus, Yugi. Don't lose faith. Concentrate. Huh? Our friendship symbol.
From what I can tell, the card game in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is basically war. You know, flip over cards and whoever has the highest number wins. Thank you for the numbers on screen. Is this like show to teach kids math? Is this like secret math teaching? Like stealth math homework show? There's minor differences, power-ups, defense cards, whatever, but there doesn't seem to be that much strategy to it. Like, just for comparison, in Pokemon, certain types of Pokemon are strong against other types of Pokemon, and certain moves take more energy than other moves, so you kinda gotta save the good attacks for the right moment. That being said, unlike Teletubbies, I did watch a couple more episodes of this. Teletubbies I kinda got the gist of in one episode, and positively did not want to watch more. I was actually kind of curious what even could happen past the first episode. There's only 4 Blue Eyes White Dragons, the most powerful card in existence, and they all get used in episode 1. And there's only one thing that can defeat them, Exodia, and that also gets used in episode 1. So all the most powerful cards in the game get used in the first episode. How do you escalate from there? I mean, I assume they introduce more and more powerful creatures later, but what's the rest of Season 1 look like? Ash didn't meet Mew or Mewtwo until the movie. You've tipped your hand too far. Honestly, I don't think I'd have liked this show as a kid. My parents really didn't have to worry about it. Granted, the monsters are pretty cool, and I do like the Egyptian aesthetics, but the show is pretty dry and even kinda dramatic for a kid's show. I liked funny cartoons. This probably wouldn't have held my attention. So let's try finding something I might actually have liked as a kid. Ah, Harry Potter, the bane of strict Christians in the early aughts.
And Harry Potter and all his wizard friends went straight to hell for practicing witchcraft.
And let me tell you, it sure was fun for a kid who was already socially awkward and didn't share a lot of interest with their peers to be forcibly excluded from one of the biggest cultural phenomenons of their generation. But I turned out fine. I put vodka in this. Yeah, Harry Potter was all about wizardry and witchcraft, and Christians lost their shit. Frankly, I think they'd have gotten off easier if it was just wizardry and they'd left out the witchcraft, because I was totally allowed to read Magic Treehouse and later Lord of the Rings with no problems whatsoever. Wizards are cool fantasy guys, but witchcraft is devil magic. The Harry Potter book series was, of course, written by acclaimed British author Hatsune Miku, who would go on to create the hit TV show The IT Crowd and the incredibly popular video game Minecraft. What a gal. The first book was released in '97 when I was really young, so pretty much from the time I was aware of these things, Harry Potter was a pop culture juggernaut. Also, for some reason, the first book is called The Philosopher's Stone in Britain, but The Sorcerer's Stone in America. And I gotta say, Sorcerer's Stone makes a lot more sense. Philosophers don't typically practice magic. Of course, I'm not gonna be talking about the books because I don't know how to read, so I'll instead be watching the first movie, released in 2001. Jesus Christ, the first Harry Potter movie is 20 years old. It was directed by Chris Columbus, the man who discovered America, and 600 years later, wrote The Goonies, Gremlins, and directed the first Home Alone movie. Now, I have actually watched the first 3 Harry Potter movies in German. Yeah, my German teacher in high school would put these on for us in German with English subtitles. Somehow I feel like things have gotten lost in translation, and then untranslation. I was also the announcer for my high school's Quidditch team. I knew very little about Harry Potter, but I did enjoy announcing shit. I also enjoyed tailgating Quidditch games. Fuck yeah. So, Harry Potter is the story of a boy who feels excluded from society because the people raising him are horrible, narrow-minded people who don't understand him and openly deny a major part of his identity even exists. But I'm sure I can't relate. There's a lot of charm to this movie, enough to make me almost want to read the books. Almost. I do have my complaints. The CG's not great, though I suppose it's about as good as you could do at the time. And there's the odd thing that makes you raise an eyebrow. Like, the hook-nosed goblin bankers? You guys don't think the writer of this was secretly a bigot or anything, do you? And of course there's stuff like the scene where Ron sacrifices himself in a chess game. But, like, just get off the piece. This is not a problem. Also, as evidenced by his continued involvement in the series, Ron doesn't die! This isn't a sacrifice! And honestly, it's just way too long. I get if you were adapting the source material, this had to be a pretty long movie, but you could split this story into at least 2 movies, and it'd probably be a lot easier to digest, especially for kids. Still, I really liked this movie. It definitely seems like something I'd be more enthusiastic about if I had grown up with it. And to be clear, there's a lot to appreciate as an adult. The sets are fucking excellent. Having never read the books, this is exactly how I'd imagine a wizarding school looking. The music is fucking orgasmic, one of John Williams' best, and he's made some really good shit. And the acting is an amazing cross-section of great British actors. Even listing the big ones like John Hurd, Alan Rickman, John Cleese would be to miss out on all the wonderful lesser-known actors who make appearances. Richard Harris, Maggie Smith, Robbie Coltrane, Richard Griffith, Zoe Wanamaker, even the guy who played Magnitude on Community, who's also the Quidditch announcer? Pop pop! Unlike the other 2 entries, I do think I'd have loved this series as a kid. It's funny, it's charming, and man, I am a sucker for lore. And there's lots of nitty-gritty details I could have dug into with this. But do I think it would have made me worship Satan? No, of course not. I get that maybe things are dodgy with the addition of witchcraft, but you know, I was obsessed with Star Wars, and I never believed I could actually use the Force. I know witchcraft is just for pretend, I'm not gonna attempt to do real spells, and these movies have nothing to do with Satan. I don't know why you'd even think that. I missed out on an entire cultural phenomenon for nothing. Thanks, Mom. So that's volume 1 of stuff my mom wouldn't let me watch as a kid. Although, like I said, there's plenty more where that came from. So, if you want to see me talk about, like, Pokemon, or Wizards of Waverly Place, or even just the other Harry Potter movies, be sure to like and share this video. I mean, I'm gonna make volume 2 anyways, but, you know, if this video does well, that's gonna encourage volume 2 to come out a little faster. And until next time, frick you, Mom. I'm
I'm spilling cream soda all over my couch for this.